Hi, this is Derek Jordan. Welcome to the World Fusion Show, where we bring you the leading innovators in world fusion music. Today, my guest is Erik Lawrence, a saxophonist and flute player. And Erik has played with many jazz and pop musicians over his career, including a long time with Levon Helm. And Erik, it's so wonderful to have him today. We're old friends. We've played a lot together, and it's just great. Erik Lawrence, welcome to the World Fusion Show.
I'm so glad to be here, man.
I'm so glad you could make it today. So you grew up in a musical household. Mm-hmm. Your dad, Arnie Lawrence, was a pretty well-known sax player, played with pretty much all the jazz greats. And I bet there were people coming through your house all the time, right? Friends and stuff. And so just tell me what it was like growing up in that jazz household.
Well, also, I have a bunch of siblings, and they're all really musical. So,
right.
But then it was like Dizzy Gillespie, Clark Terry, Doc Severinsen. My dad played on the Tonight Show. The guy from Blood, Sweat, and Tears. It was Greg Hines was one of my dad. Gregory Hines was one of my dad's best friends.
Okay.
When I was a kid, my sister and I used to have to sing and dance for him when he came over.
No pressure.
No, the last time I danced. Well, anyway, with any confidence. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like? I mean, here's your dad, all these great people coming through. You obviously were attracted to playing the saxophone from an early age. When did you start?
Well, he started each kid when we were 5 years old. And it was like learning to ride a bike. He had this tiny little curved soprano saxophone. It looked like a little baby alto. It was really old, from 1921. And he'd show you the notes and how to read the, like G, A, B, C, that. And then he'd say, now just play what you feel.
Nice.
And that's how I started. And then, my siblings were really naturally gifted, and I wasn't naturally gifted in that way. They could all pick up an instrument, just play it.
Wow.
And I could always see what it was that I needed to learn, but it didn't come that easily. And because it came easily to everybody else in my family, especially my dad, I just kind of needed to figure it out for myself because they didn't know how to teach it to me.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Yeah. That's why I went into education.
And you also, obviously, you're a very good reader. When did you start picking up reading and working with that?
When I got into school, but I got serious about it when I was in high school, and music got harder.
Well, it gets harder.
Yeah. I mean, but I was like trying to play, Charlie Parker solos and John Coltrane solos.
The hardest.
Yeah, you start with the hardest stuff. It doesn't make sense.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's great. So what I'd like to do is go to our first video, because you also play the flute very well, and this video shows you playing the flute on a jazz tune. All right, let's do that. Right, beautiful stuff. So you've played with so many people in your career. We probably don't have time to list all of them, but I wanted to know, because in jazz and pop and other stuff, I wanted to know who are the most influential and important people that you play with that you learned the most from.
Well, I mean, obviously, my dad was a big influence on me. By the way, that was a song of his called "I'm So Blue," and that beautiful woman looking at me so adoringly was my sister.
Ah, how nice.
She's an incredible singer. So my dad, Erik Lawrence, for sure. I mean, he played the saxophone. I play that alto saxophone, that I'll be playing on the show is his. And then in addition to that, I would say Levon Helm was an incredible influence on me. Sonny Chirac, who's an avant-garde jazz guitar player, he was one of my biggest mentors. A few other people that came my way, Dr. Youssef Lateef, who's up from this area, lived in this area for a long time, really made a big impression on me. And Mavis Staples, I would say.
Mavis.
Yeah, I mean, she's just like such pure white light. And I've had the good fortune of playing with, a lot of people. But,
Sure.
I played with Mavis a bunch, and I've gotten to know her. And I played with Aretha.
Right.
And I have to say, for my heart, I mean, nobody sings better than Aretha, but Mavis is pure white light.
She is a beauty. And quite a gem.
Yeah, and what a treasure that we have her in this lifetime on this planet.
A true national treasure.
Yeah. Sonny Rollins too, of course.
Sonny Rollins, yeah.
John Coltrane, those guys.
Yeah, how
Eric
fantastic.
Dolphy on flute,
Right.
Yeah.
So,
But also as people. Those are all people who as people really made an impression on me.
strong spirits. Yeah.
Beautiful spirits.
Beautiful philosophy.
Yeah.
I know, because you're very, we've played together a lot, and I find you to be a very spiritual person, and that is coming through your music all the time, with every note.
I've been accused of that before.
How there are worse problems to have, I think, maybe. Anyway, you did a long time, many years, with Levon Helm.
Yeah.
Levon, for those who don't know in the audience, was the drummer for the band.
And the lead singer.
And the lead singer for most of their really great tunes.
A lot of their songs. Yeah, the ones that everybody knows.
Yeah, that's right. And so it was a very powerful experience for you working with Levon. Want to tell us about some of that?
Well, the miracle that happened was that I first met Levon when I did a gig with the band in 1993. It was this big. It was for Bill Clinton's inauguration, and Bob Dylan and Dr. John and Vassar Clements and Stephen Stills and all these people.
Nice cast of characters.
Yeah, incredible, incredible. And for me, my first son was my one son, and only son was about to be born, and it was incredible, and then I had a really good connection with him and with Garth Hudson, the genius.
Also from the band.
Yeah, also from the band, and then the guy who was the road manager. So then when other things came up, we got to spend time together again.
Yeah.
And then actually when I moved up here to Vermont, to Putney, Vermont in 2002, I called his manager and I said, look, I know Levon can't sing. He had throat cancer since 97.
Yeah.
He's doing these blues gigs, like kind of pickup gigs, just to keep from probably shooting himself.
Yeah.
And he could only play the drums. And his daughter would do some of the gigs. I said, listen, I'm not paying New York prices anymore. I got up here. I'm in a good place.
Yeah.
Anytime that he's playing somewhere and I'm in driving range, I'll come and play with him for nothing. So I did. And I did that for a little while. And then when he started doing concerts at his barn, which was basically like a rent party, they charged $100 or something like that. And people would come just to be like in his living room, basically this close to him and see him perform, but he couldn't sing. And then miraculously, he trained his vocal cords to sing. Like the way your vocal cords work is like the bottom of your vocal cords vibrate against each other, and that's where your sound comes from.
Yes.
And from all the radiation treatments that he had on his throat, they were dead. And the way he plays the drums, he sings in his head. He plays the song. He doesn't play drum beats. That's what's so unique about his amazing drumming. But he would sing, and all of a sudden he found a voice. And what happened was he trained the top part of his vocal cords.
Wow.
So one night we were on a gig at the barn, and he called the song, and we started playing it. And he pulled up a microphone. And he started singing it, and like the people in the band almost stopped playing.
freaked out.
And by the end of the song, He got like a 7-minute standing ovation.
Wow.
There was tears in everybody's eyes. Even he couldn't believe it. And then it became sort of like this miracle. And like we started selling out the Beacon Theater, and he got on all TV shows and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then, you know, he had problems with his voice because he still had throat cancer. Ultimately, 2012, he died of throat cancer. But you know, it was a long time to carry it in, but it metastasized all of his body.
Sure.
We didn't know. We didn't know how much pain he was in.
Yeah.
But like we had a nice long stretch from 2004 to 2012 of doing a lot of gigs and going all over the place, winning 3 Grammys.
Nice.
You know, hopefully if the last record ever comes out, which is us and Mavis, that I bet would be another Grammy, or
I'd
at
like
least
to
a
hear
classic.
that one.
It's amazing. And you know, the fact that his voice came back and just kept coming back, but who he was, you know, he was a mentor, he was a brother, he was a father figure, he was a inspiration. He had this sort of simple wisdom, you know, Southern gentleman charm, wisdom about him, that just like, you know, he would say just the right thing. And sometimes he was like incredibly frustrating, you know, but he was a really, really special man.
I know.
It was a treat, and I'll carry him with me always.
And how fortunate you were to spend that time.
Yeah. So somebody recently just posted on social media. Can we please put a moratorium like they do on the song Hallelujah on the song The Wait? Because it's kind of like the national anthem.
Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like the national anthem. Everybody loves that song, and I was like, just like, absolutely not me.
No.
I am never going to stop doing that song.
And speaking of which, I was just going to say, The Wait is a song that everybody's played. I've played it 1 million times. You've probably played it 3 million times. I mean, and with Levon on top of it.
And I got chills every time I played it.
Well, it's a great song. And we're going to go right now to the video where you're playing a sax solo on The Wait.
With my own band, yeah.
Yeah.
My version.
Oh yeah, baritone sax. Gotta love that instrument. You get the highs and the honky lows there. Yeah, it's so good. Now, you've played with so many people, but something that's relatively new in your life is your work with sound healing. I mean, it's been a few years now, but I'd love you to talk about what you're doing with that and what it means to you.
Yeah, it's very, very important to me because, you know, to me it's the highest thing and the most essential thing that can be done with music. You know, music is originally, if you go back through the ages to older cultures, you know, music was always there. It always represented whatever it was that was going on in the life of the community or in the life of a person. There would be music for it. And that's still true. We still put on a song, you know, when we want to calm down or we want to get pumped up or we want to get through our exercise routine or, you know, or we're in the car and, you know, decompressing from work or whatever. You know, it's ceremony, it's celebration, it's all those things, you know. So now what I've gone through in the last many years, and it began with Levon, because I saw how he would play in the barn,
Yeah.
and how or in front of 60,000 people in New Orleans Jazz Festival or Newport, and he would lift people up. Like, I'd see people burst into tears at the very first chord of Ophelia, you know, and it's different from any of us playing Ophelia. Like, there was some way that he put the sound in the room.
That's right.
Whether it was his drums or his voice or mandolin or whatever, where there was something to it, and I was just like, what is it about him, as opposed to what music therapists are doing, or and I have a lot of friends who are music therapists, and in fact, I sit on the board of directors of one of the top music therapy centers in the world, the Louis Armstrong Center for Music and Medicine in New York City, that a friend of mine is director of, and but what is it that you can do in front of people that can touch them and that can move them? And the answer is vibration. It's incredible what vibration can do. Now they use it in medical situations all the time to explode kidney stones, or now I just saw something about how they're destroying cancer cells using vibration.
Oh, nice.
And all kinds of amazing applications. But they're also used. I know a guy who has applied music therapy to self-administered music therapy, going in for root canal on 3 separate occasions, which means it worked, after the first time. But what I'm doing for people in private settings is I'm helping people, whether they're emotional or physical issues, headaches, muscle pains, that kind of stuff, but also like grief and anxiety, troubles, let's just say all kinds of troubles. Sure. And what I do that's kind of, I work with tuning forks, and I work with Tibetan singing bowls, and singing and humming and toning and drumming and body percussion. I find that if we learn to vibrate our body from the inside out, it means more. I find that if I play music for you, it means something, but if we play music together, then it means something more.
That makes sense.
So I really try to get people involved. But one of the things that I guess that I get to do that's really unique is that because I've been playing what I feel since I was 5 years old, I create music for people in certain situations that I record on a recorder, and it becomes almost like a homeopathic constitutional remedy.
Right.
So somebody comes to me with like job-related stress, they can't sleep at night, I make music for them, that music helps them to sleep. And it's not just like palliative or new age, very static new age music. It actually like addresses the darkness of the situation and brings them out of it into the light.
That's great.
And that's that is really one of the most aside from having a child, that's the most meaningful thing I could ever do.
That's great.
And to be able to help people. And I've worked with people of all ages, people at the end of their lives, they've taken themselves off of morphine just to use, some of the music. They feel better about themselves.
Right.
And it eases those last days, or months. And I work with animals, I work with dogs, in similar situations. And it's very rewarding, and
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, and it always feels like organic. Part of it is bringing people and animals, whoever, back into balance with nature.
Right. So I'd like to go to our third video, where you're playing the flute in a meditative sound healing vein.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, very nice. Very soothing. Erik Lawrence, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been such a pleasure to have you. And we're now going to go to the part of the show where we play together. And I can't wait to do that with you. So, hey, this is Derek Jordan. Thank you for joining us today on the World Fusion Show. And hey, remember, think globally, listen locally, and support independent music.